Here we see Ansel Adams, an acclaimed nature photographer, taking pictures of natural landscapes. There are so many aspects of nature that are underappreciated and unknown, which is why Adams focuses his work on revealing the true, untouched beauty of such places. As a conservationist, Adams uses his work to help protect the natural world and to aid in the environmental movement. He was one of the first to put nature at the forefront of the shot instead of making it just a background. His photographs are some of the most recognizable nature images in the world, such as this one of the Grand Teton Mountains in Wyoming that represents a previously unknown natural landscape that gained popularity after he photographed it. The next one is of a group of trees that shows how Adams makes his black and white photography pop off the page by using a contrast between two colors.
Tanner and Russell sit in a grass field and talk about how beautiful the natural world is. They point out how the trees and flowers are in bloom, how lush the grass is, and how pristine the wilderness is. Unfortunately, they fail to recognize what is really around them. Old tobacco factories, cars, and construction pollute the landscape, but they choose to focus on the pretty parts of nature that are around them.
Similar to the last clip, Tanner and Russell choose to photograph Bailey Park in downtown Winston-Salem. They avoid taking pictures of the city around them and instead focus on making the nature look as pure and untouched as they can. They are trying to present the park as more natural than it actually is, forgetting how the park is clearly groomed to look more appealing than its surroundings, a concrete jungle built on the foundations of tobacco. Now Russell has decided he wants to take the perfect picture for his Instagram. He takes this image that we show here and eventually crops out the buildings to make just the nature shown. Next, he begins to edit the photo. No longer does it look natural, but it looks pleasing to the viewer and makes him feel like he has done a better job at capturing nature. But this isn't nature at all. Instead, he is providing a false perception of nature with the help of technology to enhance this facade.
Instead of noticing the destruction humanity is causing to our natural landscape, Tanner and Russell choose to scroll through nature accounts on Instagram that showcase the prettiest images of the natural world. They look at these photographs and then choose to ignore what's really happening around them. Here we see Nick Brandt, a modern photographer who is focused on his work on helping promote interest in protecting the environment. Brandt enters the construction site that Tanner and Russell have been ignoring and begins to photograph what is really happening then. Specifically, Brandt works in East Africa and photographs the major landscapes that are now destroyed. This first image shows a monkey next to his destroyed habitat. The black and white is used for the seriousness of the situation and shows how we are slowly killing our forests and grasslands. Next, the giraffe next to the crane shows how constructions projects that should be bettering our planet have actually caused more damage to them.
Tanner and Russell are once again capturing nature, this time only using it as a background for Tanner's photos. As Tanner sits and poses, he uses the setting of nature to improve his future social media post and uses himself as the subject of the image. He wants people to see him in the photo as opposed to the value of his setting. Luckily, Ansel Adams travels through time to help them understand what nature photography is all about. He comes to explain how photography shouldn't leave pieces out and that it should capture the whole picture. Adams states that there's nothing worse than a sharp image with a fuzzy concept. Although Tanner and Russell are taking photographs that look visually pleasing, they fail to talk about the whole story of our destruction of nature, and oftentimes just use the environment as a background to their own life. Adams reminds them how we need to focus on capturing nature for what it truly is, and takes a photograph to show the two boys how nature has value in and of itself, and that you can capture a good moment without placing yourself at the center of it.
Tanner and Russell have finally learned to experience the natural world for what it is. Instead of just sitting in a park and taking pictures, they choose to go out into the natural world and walk around without their phones. Although photography can lead to greater benefits in our world, it is alright to put down the camera and just be with nature sometimes.